most of these countries that emerged are not producing good orthodox tea. I mean, if you take all of the African nations, they are producing more CTCs. Now they are looking at a little bit of orthodox. Before that they didn't. Of course, India has been there before us. Their tea history is a little bit longer than us. India produces both CTCs and orthodox. Indian orthodox teas are still a little bit cheaper. And they also produce fairly okay orthodox teas. If you take the Darjeelings like Hanwar, they produce a very good tea. In the Assams, they produce good orthodox teas. They go in as blend reducers, but some of them are as good as ours. Different flavor to what you would expect from Dimula or Norelia or Udapusalawa or the mediums. Then we also have our Sabaragamuas, which have a different taste. But those have not come into competition with us in a big way, but it is the CTCs that has affected our tea bagging segment, like the BOPs, BOP and the dust get a little affected. But I must say, with all that, with all the competition, we are still selling at a higher price than all of them. Our teas have not sold. Only last year and the year before we had some bad dips. But if you take overall, we have still managed to sell higher prices. Unfortunately, our cost of production is very high, very much higher than most other places. That's the problem. Our labor costs have gone up. Our yields are down. Our plucking is much lower because there's political corruption up in the hills. None of those fellows will bring more than 20 kilos. Very rarely some will bring more than 20 kilos, but average they only have to bring 20 kilos. So that's actually politics playing in business, which shouldn't be the case, but it happens. Even on the salary revisions, the companies are not allowed to do the salary revisions on their own. Politically, all these politicians get involved and they have to negotiate with them and the unions and decide where politicians are, if you take on the money, involved with the union. So they go and negotiate and the companies have to fit into their agenda. You have to go on a rupees and cents basis. No, that doesn't happen. That's the problem. In the low grounds, it's not so bad because some of them have permanent labor, some have hired labor, they still manage, and low grounds have been getting a higher price than the high grounds because of the Middle East throughout the past, and they have managed. But high grounds are suffering because the regional plantation companies have to follow all what the government says and the politician says. So you have to go with that trend, and they find it difficult. It is not an economic decision that they take. They can't take an economic decision. You have to take a decision based on your costs and your output and so on. No, that cannot happen because of all this. We are politicized too much. Even down south, when the government changed, they paid 80 rupees per kilo as a norm by subsidizing it from the government. You can't do that. No? If the tea prices are right down and the actual price for the leaf is worth only 40 rupees, let the 40 be. Market will adjust itself. No, they went in and paid 80 rupees. So those are the things that made us suffer during that time. And that affects your marketing also. Because they get this money, they produce crap. Then they expect a good price for the bad tea. That should not happen. So our in the past 25 to 50 years, we have had so good traditional markets that changed because of this war situation, and we go and mess it up further by having all this internal politics. That politics should never come into a business. Then also giving these subsidies, fertilizer subsidy, weedicide subsidies, plantation subsidies, replantation subsidies. They say today you can't do replantation without the subsidies because replantation costs have gone up and you have to wait a long time for the money to be recovered. So these small families that do it need a daily income. They can't say stop producing, uproot all the teas, replant. Replanting takes a long time, and wait say 6 months or 1 year without eating and drinking. So they need something. They don't have a subsidiary crop to give them money during that period. They put all their land in tea. That's the problem. And when the prices were high, they depended 100% on that. That's a bad thing. They should have another crop or some other business giving them part of the income. Then when one has to be redone, you are not suffering. It doesn't happen.